Hi, how is everybody doing? We're doing Gemini. I feel like I don't break down like what I'm actually doing in these readings enough. I know that the people that watch understand, but if there's new people, they could get really confused. Um, I create timelines. Um, I create timelines. I make predictions. I use my intuition. So you could have a strong intuition, or you could be interested in manifestation. You could be interested in healing. You could be interested in networking. You could be interested in building. You could also be interested in love or wanting to manifest things in regards to the things that you love. You don't have to love a person. You could love a thing. You could love a person. You could love a place. You could love anything. Just the energy of love is the most important energy that we bring to these readings is love. It can be love for the self. Love for the self is always best place to start when we're talking about love. So we're here at Gemini. We're going to be using these archetype cards, and we're going to be just taking a look at your houses for now. We do have this Mercury opposite Jupiter, which Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, which is the sign we're reading for. So you want to be a Gemini rising, or you're just interested in the sign of Gemini. What is Gemini? It's the gem in eye. You notice Geminis most of the time have like really crazy eyes. Or Cancers, depending on what astrology you're using. Okay? I do know that if you're like a tropical Cancer or like a sidereal Gemini, that when you cry about something, like when you cry, your tears are so fucking powerful, you don't even know. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know that? I'm sure if you do, if you're a Gemini, you know that. Like when there's the feeling that you cry for something, or when you shed a tear for something, it's like the universe pays attention to that. The universe responds quickly for that energy. I'm not going to try to make you cry. I don't want you to cry. That's not my intention. But I'm just saying, like, if there was something that you were upset about in the recent history or the recently, and you possibly did shed a tear, or if there was something like that that upset you, I want you to know that the universe, it's like, I want you to think of like, I'm feeling like a mother. Here we have this child nature card for Gemini. Friendships with animals, communication with nature spirits. Shadow attribute is a tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. Shapeshifter in reverse, okay? Gemini. We have this Mercury, mutual reception with Mercury and Jupiter. So Jupiter is, things can be a little bit fiery right now. We have to be really careful when we see Jupiter enter Sagittarius. I know it's exalted there, or it's like that's its home sign. But the ninth house has a lot to do with like lawlessness, and like it can also have to do with like rebellion, or even like war, really, because Antares is I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the dates or anything. I just switched timelines or like snapped in. Okay. What be about love? Let's see. All right. Gemini. So we're going to do a body scan. We're 4 minutes in. Let's do this. Body scan. Gemini, your face. I want you to allow your face to relax. What is the card? What is the archetype for the face? No, we're going to start with the feet. I'm sorry. Because we're going to push the energy out. We don't want to push the energy deeper into you. We don't want to shove things down more. We want to push it out. So starting at the feet. Allow your feet to relax and just like feel your feet. Are they tired? Are they tingly? Are you sitting on them? Are they wet? Are they itchy? Are they stinky? Interesting. So Gemini, your 10th house, or your 12th house, I'm sorry, your feet is technically ruled by Taurus. Okay, hey lady. Come here. Sorry, the dog's snoring. Okay, we're just gonna pull these out. Your 11th house. The 10th house? You don't have to be here. If you want to ignore this, it's perfectly fine. I have no problem not sharing this with anyone. Absolutely no problem at all. Just by what's came out so far. You don't need to know this for sure. Probably best if you left. You can also watch for your moon sign, by the way. Okay. So we're here at the 9th house. The 8th house. 7th house. 6th house. 5th house. 6th house. Wait. 5th house, 4th house. Oh, that's a really good card right there. Okay. Just tapping into all the different timelines that are potentials for you. Okay. Interesting. Cool. Oh, wow. Wow. This is actually beautiful. Okay, so we're going to start with your 12th house. Your 12th house is going to rule your feet. The light attribute, we did pull it in the upright, and we have the goddess card. So when you walk into timelines, your feet energy, the energy that grounds you to the earth, is being represented as the goddess archetype. We have the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. The shadow attribute is exploitation of the female nature and form. Okay? So that could be some situations that you're walking into or situations that you find yourself grounded in or that you find yourself in resonance with on the planet. Your 11th house, which is like double U, right? There's U, it's 11, so it's 1, 1. So we think the first house times 2. It's enough to kind of share with everyone. Your 11th house, which is going to be ruled by Aries. So your 11th house, that's going to talk about like your community, your friends, or your biggest wishes, hopes, and goals and dreams in life. So it's all going to kind of go under that Aryan quality of being a leader, being the first. Aries is always the one that's going, like that energy when you're acting out of your own individual Aryan quality, which is going to be like your ankles, your Achilles tendon, even is what the 11th house can talk about. So that's like the weak spot, right? Like the Achilles is like, what's the myth? I think something like Attacks the tendon of I don't remember exactly what the myth is. Like, don't quote me on that. But we have the prince, and so it says light attribute, romantic charm, and a potential for power. Shadow attribute is using power for self-aggrandizement. So I do like to see that. I definitely feel like it's really interesting because we have two of the same cards that are very similar for the 11th and 12th, which is like the higher octave or like the second level of the first and the second house, which represent you, right? Who you are when you first come out of the womb, and then who you kind of like your core values and how they form around that. We have the knight and we have the artist. For your first house, which is Gemini, we have loyalty, romance, chivalry, and a love of honor. Shadow attributes is allegiance to a destructive ruler principle or possible romantic delusions. I fell asleep for a second. Whoa. All right. Whoa, I hate that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Timeline jumping. Your 10th house, which is going to talk about your career, your public, the way you show up in public, your reputation, but also like your career in your reputation, also like what you do for work or when you're at your most exposed in the world, when there's like the potential for the most amount of people to be looking at you. We have the Samaritan in reverse, which could talk about the shadow attribute. And the shadow attribute for this talks about exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer, while the light attribute means refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. The shadow attribute is exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. So I want you 12:22 on the timer, 12:21. I just saw that. So there could be something about mirroring, right? So I would like to think that we're kind of all somewhere in the middle, whether we're, being balanced in between the shadow and the light is probably best. You don't want to be all light and you don't want to be all shadow. So just like finding a really decent medium for to find a middle ground and really find the point of balance in each of these archetypes is probably important, right? We don't want to be all one way and then not the other way, right? You should be able to use the power that you have, especially when it comes to your 11th house, which is like your best possible outcome in the 11th house, right? That's really when you, that's like the double you, right? So it's like your higher self is really in your 11th and 12th house. And we have these two cards for the first and second, and then for the 11th and 12th. And there you can see the similarities there, right? We have the Knight and the Artist, which is a blue, a dark blue, and then we have a red. And then we have the Goddess, which is like a maroonish red, and the Prince is the blue. And the Artist here says, expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. The shadow attribute, which this is the second house, so this is gonna be like, we will say like put your money where your mouth is. That's why the second house rules like the mouth area, maybe even like the throat. So using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as the starving artist to elicit pity. And then we have expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. Ow, my eyes. My glasses. All right. Oh, I got stuck in that card. Whoa, okay, stop. These are really good cards, though. Gemini rising, you could have potentially had like some trauma with your siblings. There could have been like some trauma bonding with your siblings. The third house, which is your natural ruled house, which is going to be in the zodiac sign of Leo, is child wounded, so it's an inner child card. So you might have kind of like a youthful relationship with your siblings, or you might even just kind of have a youthful like quality about you in your community even. It says awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. The shadow attribute is blames all dysfunctional relationship on childhood wounds, resists moving through forgiveness. So there could be something about maybe siblings that you need to forgive, learn how to forgive, like truly forgive, like live it, like forgive, right? Your fourth house is a really good card. We have this mother card, and the fourth house is the natural house of the mother, which is a Virgo house. So you could have a Virgo mother, or you have an earth sign mother. It says nurturance, patience, unconditional love, and joy in giving birth to life. And it came out in the upright, so you could have a really strong connection with your mother, or maybe you just had a mom that was that's just a good mom. It says smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. It came out in the upright, so I feel like that's pretty good. There could have been just like some issues between siblings, right? There could be like some sibling conflict, child wounded. Your fifth house, which is the house of like dating and fun, we have the mystic, which could talk about like having a really strong interest in spirituality, a really strong interest in mystical things. Reveals an intimate union with the divine as the light attribute. And then the shadow attribute is a delusional rapport with the divine. It came out in the upright, so I think that's pretty good. The part that I have the most concern about is the 7th and 8th house here for you, Gemini. But we will look at that in a second. We have the beggar for your 6th house, which is like health, and what else is the 6th house? It's also kind of like when we go to like get rid of things, right? Like when we are like weeding out what we're gonna keep in regards to like what are we gonna allow into our personal relationships that are external to our family. That's kind of what the 6th house talks about because it rules the intestines. So we have the beggar, and it says confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. So there could be something about your health, or like even like your navel or like your stomach area, that you could be feeling a little bit like either you need to be like humbled, like a humility energy, or maybe it's just something that you need to work on, like work on strengthening your core, or maybe you just need to work on understanding who you are in your core, learning who you are in your core, understanding better who you are in your core. The shadow attribute is dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. So it's almost like instead of asking someone to do something all for you, can you learn how to do something yourself? Even if you're not necessarily the best at it, can you find a way to do it yourself? What would happen if you did do it yourself? And I believe that this is we're talking about Gemini. So we have Gemini. The next fixed sign is, or no, this is cardinal energy. So the beggar is technically, I believe this is Libra. So there could be something about like, I don't know. It could almost be like not wanting to cause ripples in something, or not wanting to be like a bother, not wanting to cause like any sort of issues. So instead of doing something yourself, it's like asking someone else to do it for you, instead of just like standing up to the plate and doing it for yourself, right? I feel like you have the capacity to do it for yourself. I'm seeing here that you're very gifted. You have a lot of gifts, especially when it comes to the divine. I feel like you have a strong connection to the divine, whatever you like, whatever you consider the divine to be. We have for your 7th house, we have the rebel in reverse, and that's rejects a legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. So that could be maybe somebody that you're like in a relationship with, or somebody that you're interested in, or maybe that's like the kind of group of people that you could be a specific person. Rejects spiritual systems that do not serve their inner needs. But you're coming through as somebody that's very spiritual, but there could be like a contract or something in your life that's not like that, that doesn't like that, that goes against that because it doesn't serve their own inner needs. And there could be like some anger about that or something. The 8th house, we have the shadow Don Juan, and it's using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas in the 8th house of sex. Scary. I would definitely, that's like a big red flag for sure, especially with the rebel card. Relationship wise, Gemini, you really need to be cautious about who you're sleeping with, because I don't think that doesn't look safe to me, especially with the child wounded and the mother above it. It could be like repeating past like family things. So like if your mother wasn't treated well by her father, you could be potentially like living out that timeline of like what was passed down from you generationally. So try and break that cycle, like stay true to yourself. If you're a mystical person and you like to communicate with the divine, do that for yourself. Do that for yourself. Your 9th house of like luck, we have the gambler, and it's willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. This is your 9th house of luck and freedom. The 9th house is like almost like the last level before you get to your, like, this is like higher education, higher learning. So that could be something that you're learning, is to trust the mystical things that you, the feelings you have, the intuition things you have, being able to map your life out, work your life through systems that make sense for you. And then we already kind of talked about the Samaritan in reverse, the prince, and then the goddess, which is similar to the knight and the artist. So but there's also this weird energy here where it's like, I don't know. I want to look at this rebel card again. It says challenges authority to effect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs, rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. I don't know what that really means. Child wounded, that could be like a coping mechanism that you're using. Hey, hey, stop it. This could be something that stemmed from childhood. If you have like childhood wounds or something that there's something here that needs to be healed, obviously, with the inner child. That could also be talking about like if you're potentially, if you're a woman, right, your inner child. It's important if you're a woman to do inner child work before you ever have children, because your inner child becomes your future child that comes out of you. Like when you give birth, your inner child, as you heal your own personal inner child, you're also healing your unborn future child. That's why it's super important in like women, when they do tarot and everything, they have all this focus on inner child work, because it's healing your inner child so that when you give birth to a child, you don't have to deal with the issues of having a wounded child, because you've already healed it within yourself. You've already stopped the pattern. And if people don't understand that, people in your relationships, they don't understand that, and they want to get angry at you because you're doing that, they can stick it where the sun doesn't shine. And I would assume that's right up their fucking ass, to be completely honest with you. That's just to be completely honest with you. Especially if it's a man doing this to a woman. When you don't even understand, because you don't have a womb, you can't carry a child. Therefore, it's not really important for you to do inner child work. You don't have to carry the child. You don't have to keep the child in your stomach for a really long time. You don't have to literally create a life inside of you. That's why women do inner child work. That's why women read tarot. That's why women do all this healing work. Some men do it if they're interested in that, if they have something that needs to be healed. But it's really a woman thing, because a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're the gods. We create the life. Therefore, it's important for us to have clean, energetic bodies in case when we do decide to interact with someone sexually, and if we were to create a life, that we would create a good, beautiful life, and we would be able to be a strong mother for our child. Even if we as children were wounded, we would be able to create strong, we would be able to create princes and goddesses, right? That's what that means. Not rebels and shadow Don Juans. That's what we don't want. Even if this is how your relationship is, that doesn't mean that that's how that your children ever have to be. Even if that's how your parents were, that doesn't mean that that's how you have to be or how you have to raise your children. You can raise your children to be beautiful, amazing, polite, upstanding individuals. So don't be afraid to break the cycle. Gemini. My father's a Gemini. And we have the Martyr on the bottom of the deck. Learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. The shadow attribute is addiction to self-pity. Let's get some energy cards. See where you're currently sitting right now. Sorry, I kind of fell asleep. Sorry, I don't know. Happens sometimes. We have dreams in reverse. It's the 33rd card, so that's 3-3. So dreams, there could be dreams of like reconciling with siblings, because siblings are important to you. You're a Gemini. We have perspective with 18. And we have serenity, standing on the beast, right? It's a lady, it's a woman, and she's standing on a crocodile. I can't remember what Vedic myth that stands for. It's the 12th card though, so that's kind of like that goddess energy, right? You can create a goddess that needs a prince, or you could create a goddess that it could be her own prince, right? That doesn't need a prince. Somebody that can stand on the beast herself, that can conquer herself. Radiance. Hey, can you stop it? What are you doing? She's over there licking her nipples. Anyways, I gotta go. That was very fun. We have expansion in reverse. So 29, 33, 18, 16, and 12. So those could be some significant ages. You could be 33 years old. That could be some significant years that you had when you were growing up, or that could just be just some significant time, significant numbers that you might want to pay attention to. 33 is like a master number. And then we also have 3 and 9 in reverse. So 3, 6, 9, that's like the Nikola Tesla thing. Sorry, that was kind of like a weird reading. It got a little tense there for a second, I know. Yeah, so I think that's what I have. I don't think I really want to pull any tarot. It's no tarot, just oracle cards are cool right now. I do a lot of tarot. We have this 2 of Cups here, that's the love card, Venus in Cancer. It says 2 of Cups, love. Just 2 people sharing a cup of love. They have their own cups, but... and you can see here, like, the sun. It's like a yin-yang, but there's no little circles. It's just like half and half of shadow, but also yellow, which could talk about the sun. And they're mer people. Anyways, that's all I have. I have to go. I hope that was good. Sorry I fell asleep. I don't know. You can skip forward if it's the message was for you. If it's for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. We also have the King of Swords, the Moon, and the Empress. Oh, actually, I believe. Oh well, in sidereal astrology, yeah, my sister has a baby that is she's a Cancer. She's a Cancer. Her name's Ruby, and my sister's a Leo. But in sidereal astrology, she's technically a Gemini, so that could be maybe what that was talking about. I hope that was. Anyways, that was a good reading. Sorry I fell asleep. I had to kind of tap in the energy. Anyways, that's all I have. Goodbye.